Welcome to Crybaby Performance. Now we are going to show you how to change valve springs. You're going to do this a lot, so you should know how to do it yourself. It's pretty easy to do. Of course, we already took the valve cover off and our gasket down there. The valve spring is a 16-pound valve spring, so you can push the valve pretty easily with your finger because it's only 16 pounds on there. Now, on this head, since I can put my finger on the valve, I can pop that retainer off that easy. It has a big hole right there and then the small hole that fits on the valve. Just like that. Okay, not a big deal. It does take practice. I've done it a lot of times. That's why it, looks easy. But the one thing you don't want to do is, if on your engine here, if you pop this off like that, the valve's going to drop out. See how it dropped out? Well, in your running engine, you don't want that to happen because there's no way to get it back in without taking the cylinder head off the engine. So we're going to show you how to do that without dropping the valve. Then the valve spring right here is this part number. And we change these every single race. Okay, we want the freshest valve springs. They usually lose about a pound after a race day. So we pretty much change them every race day. And so let me pop this back together. It doesn't really matter where it has a little squared edge right there on the keeper. And you can position that where it's easier to get at if you have a clearance issue with the rocker arm. But there it is, it's snapped on, it's not coming off. Okay, now we're going to show you on the engine. Now with the piston at top dead center, we have this little tool that we can put in the hole here.
Where'd you get the tool?
Stout Racing. Okay, now we can only push the valve down so far before it hits the tool. So the valve can't drop in the engine anymore. Now they sell, the tool comes with, where'd our round? With this that threads into, once you put the tool, this goes over the top. That threads into the spark plug hole. Now it comes with a thumb screw. Now when I push on that rocker arm, I cannot drop it into the cylinder. Now, if you take your thumb and put it on the front part of the rocker, and then your 2 fingers on the back, you can push up on the rocker arm and turn it off. Okay. This is an older engine, so this has a lash cap on it, which your engine will not have that. Okay, now we can position the tool, tighten the thumb screw so that we're only pushing on the retainer. The retainer comes off, the spring comes off, we take the new one out of the package, put the new spring on, put the new retainer. Okay, now it's back on. Now our tool, we can move that out of the way. The valve will go down. This is an older engine, so it has a lash cap, and then you take your thumb. This push rod is going to go into this ball. So I take my thumb and I push down on the rocker and snap it back on the ball. We did not touch any valve lash. That's all we did was change the spring. Now we're going to go to the other side. And do the same thing. We're going to pull up on our tool, and I'll show you why that's important. And then off comes the spring. We get the new spring, put it in. Push down and over, the new one's on. At this point, you can remove the tool. And we'll show you how this tool works in a second. And all this tool is doing is preventing you from dropping that valve into the cylinder. Now we're going to put the rocker arm back on, which you're pushing on the front, and it's lifting up the rear so that you can pop it off of that push rod. As long as you don't touch these 2 nuts, the lash is not going to change, nothing's going to change. You're just putting new valve springs in. Now let's go over here and look at our tool. Our tool is hook shaped, okay, so that it goes into the cylinder. And what we're basically doing is we're holding the valve. Once you put the thumb lock in there, like that, it clamps onto the rod, it holds the valve. You can no longer drop the valve into the engine. And then you can move the tool to this valve and do the same thing. Again, this tool is available at Stout Racing on the web. So that's how you change your valve springs without dropping them in the engine.
If you liked our video, give it a thumbs up from the home of Crybaby Performance, where we try and they cry.